Bibbity boppity butts. Bibbity boppity. No, we're not. That's not the video we're making right now. That's the one we're making. I spelled it wrong. I spelled Ragnarok wrong. Ragnarok. So God of War Ragnarok is coming to PC, and if you're Sony right now, the top priority on the PC side of your business strategy should be making nice. It should be reestablishing yourself as a good player in the market and using that, as a way to piggyback off the success of Ghost of Tsushima. And you should definitely be really defining yourself as a company in the market that is not going to be annoying the average PC player in the way that companies like Epic Games and EA annoy the average PC player. The Helldivers 2 PSN fiasco was a massive PR destructoid bit, and then the PSN requirements for Ghost of Tsushima's multiplayer didn't do you any favors. Requiring PSN for multiplayer is one thing, but then pulling the entire game from almost 200 countries because of that multiplayer restriction is another thing. You definitely did not make people happy with that. You should definitely be trying to not step in any mines right now. Don't dip your whole foot into elephant feces. But then, at the State of Play presentation the other day, it was silently confirmed that Ragnarok is coming to PC and requires a PSN account. Across the board, the whole thing, this single-player only game requires a PSN account. This game that does not require online to any degree requires a PSN account, meaning Sony has learned quite literally nothing from the last few months because they're just moving forward with the terrible business strategy as if nothing happened, and as if this statement that they made after the Helldivers fiasco, they just never made this. Oh, bear with us while we learn what the PC market likes, and then less than 2 months later, they do something even worse. There is truly no reason to do this. There's no reason to force a PSN account into Ragnarok's entire existence. Not only are you forcing PC players to make yet another third-party account during a time when PC gamers have a historically low opinion of third-party accounts, but you're also ensuring that God of War Ragnarok, which is one of the best-selling PlayStation Studios games to date, literally cannot be sold in over 150 countries because over 150 countries don't have PSN support, and Sony refuses to just fix that so more potential buyers can get their hands on what Sony insists is a great experience that everyone should play. I don't get this. It doesn't make sense. Well, it does make sense, because this is all being very blatantly done just to pad Sony's PSN stats. They literally don't care about how many regions of the world don't have access to PSN, or how many PC gamers hate PSN. They literally just want to pad their stats, because the PS5 is not selling amazingly, and the console market as a whole is stagnant, which is why Sony themselves confirmed that half of the PSN player base is still on the PS4, and Sony probably doesn't want to put any more focus than they absolutely have to on their insane budgets for first-party games and ever-shrinking profit margins due to those insane budgets and pretty embarrassing breakdown of how many people have actually switched to the PS5 or stuck to the PS4. Their budgets and their PS5 user count are not things that they want to tout to investors, so they're resorting to the PSN number, and in order to tout the PSN number and make it actually look good, because again, PS5s are not selling the way that they should be, they're now trying to force PC players to bail them out and pad their stats. That's really all this is. They just want to point at the number of PSN users going up now that they're forcing PC players to make a PSN account even for a game that has literally no online functionality, because the PlayStation brand is just so awesome and so dominant that they're now trying to force PC players into bailing them out to their investors. It is so fucking desperate, it makes me want to eat spit. I made a tweet about this news after it broke, and surprise, surprise, a bunch of PlayStation dudes came into my replies and tried to defend Sony doing this. So welcome to another episode of Oops, I accidentally created a PlayStation fanboy salt pile on Twitter, better make a video about it. So strap in, because we're about to listen to allegedly adult human beings with allegedly functional brains trying to justify a giant corporation like Sony actively taking their their game away from 100+ countries simply because they can't be fucked to put PSN support in said countries, and they literally only care about PSN user counts nowadays. They don't care about copies sold or revenue generated, it's just about PSN users, because it's the easiest metric that they can pad and then, parade that around at the next investor call. That is truly the only reason they're doing this. There is no reason otherwise to be doing this. And by the way, this is the same company that published some of the best games of the 2000s, by the way. I've been playing God of War 2005 recently, and fucking hell, it is absolutely insane to me how far Sony has fallen as a game publisher, because the old God of War games kick so much ass it is almost unreasonable. But fucking anyways, let's get into the salt mound that I created on accident the other day. Because, I dared to say something critical of Sony when Sony did an objectively shitty thing to their potential customers. Are you excited? I'm excited. Let's begin. Firebreather responds to my post and says, it's a PlayStation game. You need PSN to play it. Don't like it. Don't buy it. The reasoning behind if it's good or bad makes no sense. When you don't want something, you don't buy. Same goes for all the other accounts you need to play UB, Microsoft, EA, etc. Okay, first of all, it's a PlayStation game. You need PSN to play it, but you didn't before. That's part of the problem. I don't know if this is just ignorance or something else, but I can tell you from first-hand experience, I've 100%ed Spider-Man on PC. I'm currently going through God of War 2018 on PC. Slowly but surely, that game bores the tits off of me, but I'm doing it because I keep getting told it heats up after a while. So I'm just desperately trying to force myself to that point where it heats up, and then in between the moments where I bore myself to tears, I go play the original on my PS2 emulator, but that's just me rambling for no reason. Single-player PlayStation games on PC, though, my point is that they didn't require PSN until now. This is the first one. Because why would they require it before? It's an offline single-player game. Why do you need any kind of account? If the game is perfectly capable of functioning entirely offline, which this is, it is a single-player game, unless Sony's going to start requiring an online connection or online checks for their PC games, which I really wouldn't put past them, but it's not confirmed, so I'm not going to criticize them for that just yet. But unless they are adding some kind of online functionality, why is there an online firewall to get to the game? And I know it's kind of a weird argument because it's Steam, it's a digital copy. You have to get online to get the game in the first place, but why is that not enough for you, Sony? You say it yourself, there's a whole bunch of other accounts, like Ubisoft accounts, Microsoft accounts. Yeah, we don't want any more, especially not from Sony, whose security is regularly dropping its defenses and letting people's personal info out. I don't want to have to sync my Steam account to the PlayStation Network, because it doesn't benefit me as a consumer to do so. In fact, there's pretty hard evidence to a PC player who's watching this from the outside looking in, there's pretty hard evidence that the opposite happens when I link my Steam account. There's no actual functional reason for this to be here other than, like I said, padding their stats, but then there's also the added negative of because they are forcing PSN into a single player game with no actual functional use for PSN, there's now a 3-digit number of countries who can't buy it, who can't give you money. If you are going to force me to make a PSN account on something that does not require it at all, and in a kind of game that did not need it before, you need to tell me why. You need to tell me what I'm getting out of it. And they're just not doing that. The only thing that's coming from the PSN requirement is an additional online firewall to a single player game. It is linking my Steam account to a company that has routinely proven to not really be all that careful with user data, and it is removing the game from sale from so many potential buyers that it's obnoxious. We don't want to do this anymore. If you want to succeed on PC, why is it difficult to just do what so many other publishers do? Just put your game on Steam, take my money for it, and that's it. It's over. Why do you need more than that? Oh, my money is not enough for you anymore? Great, you won't get it. This person also says, okay, I get the outrage for Helldivers because it wasn't required from the start, but what is about this? You have a UB account, WB, EA, Rockstar, Microsoft, but goddamn, if it's Sony, let's riot. You answered the question yourself. It wasn't required from the start. Neither was this. Also, we have all these other accounts. Yes, we don't want another one. Like, this isn't hard. Sony is going out of their way to make their games less appealing to PC players while also just removing them from a lot of PC players. Because they want to add a firewall between Steam and the game, but then they're not even putting the firewall everywhere. So the game's just getting removed from Steam in those places. Like, what is the strat here? Swizza Wizza says they own the game. It's not yours. You're buying a digital copy of it. Get the disc. Nobody tell him what Ubisoft's doing with game discs now. Game discs are not what they used to be, my friend. This argument really doesn't hit the way you hope it does. But yeah, you're right. When you buy a game on Steam, you're technically buying a license to use it, which is the exact same way it works on the PlayStation, even if you get the disc in a lot of cases now. But if your issue is that I don't own like the source code, I don't own the actual code of the game that I paid for, well, then you're right. Thank you for enlightening me. I will now pirate this game. Hello, I'm interrupting this video to remind you that this channel is sponsored by 4D Gaming. If you would like a really nice mousepad, go to 4dgaming.com and use code Joe for a discount. This channel is also sponsored by Glitch Energy. It's basically G Fuel, but better, so go to Glitch Energy and use code Joe for a discount. Thank you for letting me interrupt your content. I'll let you keep watching it now. Retro responds to my tweet and says, looks like I'm done buying PlayStation games, and then he gets a response from Fanboy Killer. Oh, wait, is that the same guy that has that guy been in the video already? No? He hasn't been in the video already. Why did I think he was already in the video? It's early. Jesus. Anyways, so Retro says, looks like I'm done buying PlayStation games. Fanboy Killer responds, literally no one cares. You people are beyond NARCS these days. Just don't buy it, weirdo. That's not what NARC means, my friend. So, Sony does a thing that they very obviously tried to sweep under the rug. They were very quiet about this. They were very quiet about Ragnarok requiring PSN because it directly contradicts this statement they made about Helldivers and that whole PSN thing. Like, so Sony was definitely trying to make sure we didn't notice this. But because we did notice it, God, you people are narcs now. We're narcs because we noticed the thing that Sony was trying to sneak by us. That's not what narc means, bro. Sony trying to do something that they know we don't want, and then us continuing to not want it. How the fuck does that make us narcs? Like, oh, I'm sorry, I guess I'm a narc because I didn't give the giant corporation $70 for a game I didn't want and an account that I didn't want. My bad, I'm just a narc. I also like this response that he gets. Telling someone who isn't going to buy it not to buy it. Smart. That's what I love about all the PlayStation dudes who are like, me, just don't buy the game. It's like, okay, I won't buy the game. And then when the game doesn't sell as many copies as you think it should, you're gonna be like, man, why didn't PC gamers buy the game? Bitch, make me want to. That's like, why is this hard? You want my money, make me want to give you my money. Make it easier for me to give you my money. Why is this difficult? Saber Zero, who's weirdly becoming a regular over here. I think I'm on his watch list. That's fine. Keep coming back, Saber. Like, anytime you want to have a genuine conversation, I'm here, but I don't think that's why you're here. Anyways, says, give me a single reason why it's a bad thing. I bet you play games that already require this and don't complain. If you're talking about requiring a PlayStation account, no, I don't. You know, that's the whole problem, is that single-player PlayStation games have not required this up to now, which is why single-player PlayStation games have been available in many more regions than this game will be available, because, you know, I tend to believe that more people should have access to more games, and if the only reason a game is not available in your region is simply because the company publishing that game refuses to allow you to make an account in that region, and that's why you can't play the game, I think that's a scumbag move. I don't think there's any defense of that. Any company would do this and I would hate it. And as for the point that people keep bringing up about how, like, oh, you already play games that require third-party accounts. First of all, I think you grossly overestimate how many games actually do this, that people on the PC actively play, because it's not every AAA game that does this. It's not even close to every AAA game that does this, that requires a third-party account. And outside of a handful of first-party publishers, really nobody does this. You know what I mean? I know that if you're a console fanboy and you're just like, your entire view of the gaming industry revolves around consoles and console marketplaces, you probably don't really know the extent of the indie and AA marketplace on the PC. But it seems like the main complaint, or like the main like counterpoint that defenders of PlayStation have about this PSN requirement for Ragnarok, it seems like the main defense is that other companies already do it. But like, we don't want those either. You know what I mean? And because we're PC players, we're also capable of understanding that a handful of AAA publishers is not even close to being the majority of the games available on the PC. You're on the console, you can't say the same. So it's not surprising that you put so much weight and so much power behind those handful of publishers when they are on the PC, when in reality, they don't have nearly as much power on this platform as those same publishers do on the consoles. But anyways, that's a different point. But also, as Joshua Mason responds, and you just had nothing to say about it, is that 180 countries are now banned from buying it for no reason. If Sony actually was dedicated to expanding their PC audience, to really enticing PC players, and like that actually was their goal, was to make PC players really like buy into what the PlayStation is selling, they would be expanding PlayStation Network support worldwide, but they're not doing that. They would make the game as easy as possible to purchase for a PC player. They're not doing that. And like what blows my mind too is Sony could fix this by just adding PSN support to those other countries. Get the game available everywhere Steam is available, but you're not doing that. Because this isn't about expanding your reach on the PC. This isn't about enticing PC players. It's about padding your PSN stats and nothing else. They couldn't be more obvious about it. Okay, this next batch gets fucking dumb. Deez responds to my tweet and says, why do I need a Steam account to purchase and play games through Steam? But this is a false equivalency because you're asking, why do I need a Steam account to purchase and play games through Steam? That's not the question. The question is, why do I need a PSN account to purchase and play games through Steam? This is not a zinger, and as much logic as I tried to use to explain why it's okay for a Steam account to be required for Steam, like as much as I explain that to you, it's not going to matter because that's not the point. And this is where it gets real stupid. Pickle Plus responds, says to purchase and play games on Steam. Why do I need a PSN account to purchase and play games through Steam? Exactly. Thank you. That's the problem. But then D says you need an account because they say you need an account. Simple as that. Oh, so you don't have an argument. I asked in my original post for a single reason why requiring PSN for a Steam single-player game. I asked for a single reason why that's a good thing. You tried to do a dunk on me, like, why do you need a Steam account? You get a reason why you don't need a Steam account, and now you've resorted to, you need it because they say so. Do what the corpo says because the corpo said so. So, I say it again, you had no argument. You literally have no reason to defend this. By your own admission, you have no reason to defend this because your only defense is that they said you have to do it. That's not a defense. I say you have to shit your pants right now, and if you don't do it, I'm then going to criticize you in a poorly written out Twitter thread because I told you to do it, bro. I told you to do it. Wait, but don't I decide when I shit? No, I told you to do it. I said so. Shit your pants right now. Go. 1, 2, 3, go. Shit your pants. You haven't shit your pants? You're banned. You can't shit your pants ever anymore. You didn't shit your pants when I told you to, so you can never shit again. Pickle Plus responds to you again and says, still waiting for a single reason why God of War Ragnarok is requiring PC users to hold a PSN account is a good thing. Deez says, still waiting for a single reason why I need a Steam account to purchase and play games in the Steam store. My boy, that is not the point. But I feel like I'm gonna have a fucking aneurysm if I keep going with this one. Let's just move on. Faithful as always says, do you have a Steam account on PC? Oh my god, this argument. This argument, it's like Zenny says, giggling that you think this is a gotcha. It's just not. And it's not only not a gotcha, it's also not even remotely relevant. But you're not smart enough to notice that. God, I'm about to have a mental snap. I'm about to have a big old mental Marvel snap. So I'm just gonna stop. You can absolutely argue that the PSN requirement in the regions where it's supported is less of a big deal than people are making it out to be. You can argue that people are overreacting to this or that it's not actually that difficult or not actually that intrusive. I'm happy to hear those arguments, but no one seems to be making them because instead we're yelling about the fact that PC players don't want another fucking third-party account, especially when it locks 170 some countries from experiencing the piece of art that Sony insisted on putting on PC. If you insisted on putting the piece of art on PC and you think it's an amazing thing that PC players should experience, why are you making it as difficult as possible for PC players to experience it without sailing the high seas? That's your homework, fanboys. Answer that question articulately with proper English in MLA format, email it to my business email, and I will give you a gold star, maybe. Toodles!